Hey, what's going on, everybody? Keep almost in full color, and today we have the Watch Dogs Legion review. When this game was first announced, I was very concerned. I did not know if this game would work. That in theory, it sounded just way too ambitious, but we have it here today to test out and figure out how we feel about the game and the execution of the idea. So first and foremost, we see the visuals and they look pretty good. There are some rendering issues. Now I am playing on the original PS4, so I'm uncertain if it's just my PS4 not being able to handle it, or if, some of these textures just did not come out the way that they hoped that they would come out. But nonetheless, for everything, now I've never been to London, so it's hard to say whether or not this looks to scale or how London looks, but I mean it looks pretty damn spot on. I mean, like I said, I've never been there, so hard to say, but I am very happy with the way that the city and the environment looks and everything that encompasses that. As far as the NPCs go, some of them look a little off and they're a little weird, and sometimes the lips don't match up. Also, I don't understand British lingo too much, so there is this just weird mouth movement thing going on. You do get used to it and you do kind of become numb to it, but I think at first it is a little jarring when you kind of see it. The story is a fight the people or fight the power type story. It's one of those we're stronger together than apart, and we have more in common than we are led to believe. So whether or not you get down with that message or not, I think the story is a good one. It's one of those stories that you've heard before, you've watched before, and at that point it kind of becomes a how do you feel about it. There are more side stories and sub stories that run, but that is the main idea of everything, and there is more to it than just that. But in its base form, I think that it's a good story to play off of, and I think they play off of that idea very well. In terms of sound, I don't play sandbox games a whole lot, as you may see on this, but in terms of sound, some of the sound was off for me, and I'm not certain. Like I said, I am playing on the PS4, so I'm uncertain if it's a hardware issue or what. But some of the sound was off, and another thing I kind of felt. I'm not gonna say it's a bad thing. Once again, I don't live in London and I don't know a whole lot about it, but in terms of the radio and the music that came on, none of it really resonated with me a whole lot. So it was a type deal. I have played Grand Theft Autos, and it's kind of funny because you hop in the car in Grand Theft Auto and you be jamming. And in this case, for me, there was no jamming going on whenever I got in the car. I utilize the fast travel option a whole lot, so I guess let's just go ahead and get into gameplay. Fast travel option is unlocked at off break. You get to use it, and I think that's very great. The city is pretty big and you can get lost doing a lot of different things. So if you're like me, where you're trying to be a completionist and run through, you may not have to utilize fast travel too much. But for those who see a butterfly and then go get sidetracked and you end up on the other side of the city and you're not even where you need to be, you can always utilize that fast travel just to get there. Now, for those who did not know, Watch Dogs Legion is based off of the premise that anyone can be recruited to DedSec. Anyone can be recruited to the cause. And with that, I thought this is not going to work out. But it works out very well, actually. And in fact, there's one thing that I really enjoy about the game, which is for some individuals who may be personally or kind of terrestrial. There's one thing I really like about the game, and that in some individuals, that they are personally invested into the destruction of Albion through, hey, the family member or something happened to them that really makes them want to go after them. They're much easier to recruit versus someone who maybe has no reason to hate them. They're going through life and they just have no reason to even care about what Albion is doing. They're going to take a little bit more. So I actually really like that touch. Now, with that being said, there were some things found out with the algorithm, because normally when you do look into people, it'll kind of give you a brief bio of the individual and what they have to offer DedSec. And they have found that a pedophile essentially was created due to the algorithm. They had a person who was a pediatrician, and she said she was just ending her relationship with one of her patients. So yeah, some oddities, but when you have something this ambitious, something as bad is bound to happen. Now, on the other hand, I really like the operative system. It's pretty cool. You will learn that some operatives are much better than others. For instance, for a while, the construction worker was my favorite operative. He got to summon a construction drone whenever he wanted, and I thought that's so cool. But then I unlocked the spy, and the spy has a silenced pistol. He has this watch that can jam enemy guns. He has a spy car that can active cloak and has missiles on it. The spy then became my favorite, and then I found out that you can summon these cargo drones at certain spots in the city. And then the construction worker became null and void to me. It was quite crazy how he just lost all value to me within a few missions. So with that being said, I do like the fact that some of the operatives have like these crazy perks to them and they make them really fun to use. And then on the other hand, it kind of makes it that you don't really want to recruit anyone else because other people that you go to recruit probably won't have the same perks as the spy had, or you may not have the same perks as some of like the serious hackers do, where they have infinite hacking range. They have 6G, so they can download stupid crazy. And you have some of these individuals who just really shit on the base operatives. However, the base operatives do have a chance. You get these things called tech points, and you can use those to invest into tech, and this tech can be used by all operatives. So it's separated into a few different categories. You have your weapons, you have your gadgets, you have just like your base upgrades that you have, and then you have some additional hacks like hacking a drone that belongs to the security force that you're actively fighting against. And all operatives get this. So in one way, like, it helps the base operatives who really don't have that many perks. You can really invest into these skill trees and get them boosted. But on the other hand, the crazy operatives also get these boosts as well. So it's kind of funny because it just like makes them even better. But ultimately, if you end up in a situation where you lose an operative, then you do have options in terms of weaponry, gadgetry, etc. When I started the game, I started on normal, and just to give that extra challenge, they do offer permadeath, and if an operative dies, they're done. You can never get them back. So I kind of wish I put it on hard for those who are playing the game or interested in playing the game. Normal is quite easy and quite forgiving. Hard is where it's at. It is not as forgiving. So that permadeath really starts to make you sweating bullets if you're in a bad spot or if you infiltrated a building the wrong way. It really will make you, is going to make you really want to save that character, especially if you're using the good one. A few times when I was using the spy, I ended up in a sticky spot, and I had to figure out a way out of there, and I did because I didn't want to lose my spy, because to me he's the greatest. The beekeeper is dope too. And like I said, they're crazy operatives who have crazy backstories. So it's really cool that you're kind of getting these everyday people who have really cool backstories, and that the algorithm is kind of formulating those backstories. I feel like there's probably like a base template down there for a lot of them, and then you just kind of, when you initiate it, it kind of just runs a random one for you. But I highly, highly like this. It's really cool. Now, I have encountered some blue screens of death and some other issues in the game. Some missions didn't really load right. I think that's just part of the course for a game like this, especially this magnitude. It's a big game, so you're gonna run into these things. I also didn't like the load times, and some of them came at really weird spots. It would be like you walk into a building and then you get slammed with the load screen. I really can't wait for the PS5 to come out to see if this is really diluted and just killed completely with that. But I feel like some missions you are on a really good pace and everything was good, everything was hitting, the moment was tense, and then you get hit with the load screen, and it kind of like kills the moment. So Hopefully, like I said, the PS5 will come and save the day, but for those playing on the current gen, that may or may not kind of kill the mood a little bit. They're not terrible load screens, maybe 25, 35 seconds, but they're not the quickest load screens at all. With that being said, I really enjoyed this game. I thought it was dope. I don't play sandbox games a lot, so for me, this is a pretty good venture away from my normal archetype of games that I play. It has some flaws. It definitely does, but ultimately I do think it's a good game. And if Black Friday or Cyber Monday you happen to catch this, you know, for 40 or 30, I highly encourage you to get it at that price. Like, that would be a really good buy at that price. But even paying the full 60 would be cool. Watch Dogs 2 will still be probably my favorite out of the whole ambiance that offers. But this is a really cool game that had a very ambitious idea, and they executed it quite well. I was happily impressed and shocked with how well that went on. But with that being said, Watch Dogs Legion for me is a definite buy. For anyone who was interested in the Watch Dogs games that was uncertain, I think you definitely would enjoy this, and I can't wait to see what's left in the Watch Dogs tank. With that being said, peace, be easy, be blessed.